Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. I'm with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. Remember them? You can email us if you go to our website, the Absolute website. Who's the last person who typed in www?
I love it when you say www.
Have you ever... When's the last time you did that? I'll just type in www/ Nobody does that. Google. Ask Jeeves. Yahoo. So many options, so little time.
Is there Bing as well? Is Bing another one?
Bing?
Bing.
Where the
Yeah, it just tells you.
of the night
You see, this is where we are with technology.
meets the goal. Say, if you're looking for the Absolute Radio website, why not try this, baby? Bo, 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 bo. I like to get the kids early on with my Bing Crosby impression.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
I say the show started in quite a depressing way for me.
Oh,
when
really?
the cockerel, who it's a delight to have back, I may say,
Morning.
said, where's that toilet roll we normally keep in the studio?
Well, I've got one of my heavy colds. You know that-
When you say one of your heavy colds, that sounds a very showbiz euphemism.
No, I was mocked for saying I had a heavy cold on this show once, and mocked,
It's like
honestly.
the temptation of Christ.
The caustic humour that I heard that day at the expense of saying I had a heavy cold.
I denied him 3 times when he
Yeah.
croaked.
Oh, no.
We've missed you though, Frank.
Well, I haven't missed the show. I've just
No,
been
I
away
know.
for a week.
I've missed you though. I knew you were out of the country, and I don't like it when you're out of the country.
I was en France.
Oh!
That's what happened.
Did you go on Francais?
I did. I was on what I think you would call a group holiday.
Groupon, you get it cheap. You got a Groupon holiday.
I don't know what that means, so I'm laughing. So as to appear like I'm got my finger on the
Frank
pulse.
Skinner on Groupon. Feet on the ground.
I went away with a group of people. I knew one. It was like all couples and kids. You know, I'm at that stage now. I have a child of my own that you have to go away with couples and kids.
Yeah. I've
Oh,
got-
yeah.
got
So it was
some
my
those holidays
first one
booked
of
in
those.
myself, yeah.
Yeah, it's my first one
Well, I
of
can
those.
go away with footballers and lap dancers.
Yeah. Well,
That's the way I roll.
That's the plus you have.
Yeah.
So I went away with. I knew one of the couples, but the other couples I didn't know,
Oh, newbies.
and they didn't know me. So they weren't.
They must have been
They
aware of
didn't
your
know
work,
my-
though.
I know that. I think they
Did
were
they not know you-
slightly aware. They didn't know.
They
I think
didn't know your stories, darling.
They didn't know my little ways.
I know.
That
I know
was the
your
problem.
ways, darling.
That was the problem. And I look back now. I feel a bit bad about the whole experience. They were good. They were good people.
Am I going to have to leave the studio?
No, they were good people, though. They were all, I think all of them, if not most of them, were card-carrying members of the Labour Party who'd all done good stuff, you know,
Right.
worked with the homeless and stuff like that. And I don't.
You don't.
I don't work with the homeless. I don't.
You let one of them sign your arm once. That's the closest I've seen to you.
Closest he's come to them is outside Nobu.
Did I sign their arm?
No, he signed your.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
No, you're right. You
I signed his arm. I just wet a finger. No. So, and they were, you know, they're people who'd done proper stuff that you're supposed to do, help people, and you know,
They'd given back.
they'd canvassed, they'd gone door to door for the Labour Party and stuff like that. I vote, but I don't know any of that. But they were the nice. I'm the bad guy in this story. I'm going to be straight with you. And I just think that sometimes, for effect, I'm trying to get myself off the hook, but I don't know if I was on my best behaviour. Yes, I'm away with these people who I didn't know very well.
on your
couples
Groupon
and stuff.
holiday that you got off your iPhone.
He doesn't know what that is. Stop using
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, just stop picking on me.
Bargain.
Frank,
I'm not going to.
Can we establish? Are you in a villa at this point?
Yes,
Can we have
we're in
the Cluedo setting,
We're
please?
in a French villa, not far from Bergerac.
Oh, lovely.
Right.
Obviously, he moves about.
Yeah.
But when I got there, I saw him in a car outside. I think he was casing. So on the first night I got there, and we got there quite late. We sat down for dinner. I'd been there about an hour, and somebody said, "Oh, well, I've got to do this thing with Princess Anne," because a lot of them work like sort of charity work and stuff. And he said, "I'm going to do a thing with Princess Anne." And one of the guys said, "Which one is that? Which one is Princess Anne?" Which is, And I said, "What? You don't know who Princess Anne is?" Hold on. I said, do you not know who she is, or are you pretending you don't know who she is to be cool?
So, can I just establish this is the first night?
I'd been there an hour and 10 minutes. And I thought it was and I felt it hadn't gone as... I felt there was a bit of a tension in the air. And then the next day there was another thing. And Kath actually said to me, "Will you just calm down?" Well, when we was on our own. "You just calm down." She said, "I think you're on the defensive because all the men are younger and fitter than you."
Oh.
Well, that hurt.
Is that what it was, though? Or had you not noticed that that's what it was at that point?
I'm not...
She'd noticed at that point, that's the problem.
They were all really good people. And they weren't, like, there was nothing about me being there. They weren't impressed by celebrity. Obviously, that upset me.
That's where they went wrong.
Yeah.
They were young and fit, yeah.
And then we were talking about canvassing, knocking on people's doors wearing a rosette and stuff like that, which I've said... I could never do that. So I think that's the worst. I can't imagine anything worse than knocking on someone's door in a rosette. And they were all saying, no. And one of them said, it's actually really interesting. I said, "No, but not for someone of my intellect." And again, it was meant as a
Please tell me you didn't say that.
It was meant as a joke, though.
Please.
No, it was meant as a joke, I think.
Really?
Yeah. And
you only think so, though.
I'm almost certain I meant it as a joke.
Alan, what's wrong with him?
And then this really, the last one really was an accident.
Something was worse than what you've just said.
On the last day, someone was on about the fact that the kitchen was a bit dirty. And I said, "This is nothing compared to my kitchen." I said, honestly, this is like an operating theatre compared to mine. My kitchen's terrible." And then I said, I said, "I'm amazed, people. I must spend more time with ordinary people." But what I meant was people who have the normal standards of hygiene and what a house should look like and stuff like that. I didn't mean ordinary people.
No,
it sounded that way, though, didn't it?
But I tell you, I'm starting to think I can't mix with people anymore. I just say the wrong... It's like I'd imagine if you were on holiday with Michael Parkinson, we'd say... when people get to a certain age, they just say stuff. I've become that person. And when I left, I've never had a less...
They threw a party to celebrate?
We went round handshaking and hugging up, and it's the least emotional farewell I've ever been. I really felt like
To be fair, you'd only known him since Monday, though, hadn't you?
I know, but it was long enough. And I cannot emphasise that everybody was very nice to me, and...
Skinner, Dean and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
I was telling you earlier that we'd had some lovely tweets, actually, from people who'd been to see your gig this week. But you don't like to hear praise.
No, I don't, but I thank them.
It's positive.
I thank them remotely.
Well, if you're anti-praise, you may be interested in this text that we've
Hold
just
on,
had.
is this an attack?
No, not at all. I think it's more like a texted concern from Dandy Man. "Is Mr. Radio feeling okay? His intro sounded like he was in a bad mood. Hope everything's okay with the big man." He's calling you the big man there.
Yeah, I don't know why, but...
Do you know Scottish people like to do that?
They do.
I'll tell you what happened there, Dandy Man, is that I had no idea what I was going to say. I mean, even at the very last split second as my lips began to part, I did not know what I was going to say before I said.
Well, he's misunderstood your...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, no, everything's fine, but thank you. And if there's if I do need cheering up and there's a problem needs solving, I think the Dandy Man can. Ooh, lovely. So so I've been doing stand-up gigs this week.
You've been doing what I call your gigs.
Yeah. And I haven't really done what I'd call proper stand-up for 5 years, so it's been an interesting experience. I always, when I go into something like this, I'll be absolutely honest with you, I always think it's going to be a earth-shattering success. I mean, I really do. I really think the first night, all the new stuff will all go so brilliantly. That
Do you fantasise it might be on News at 10? They might actually report.
I fantasised about there being a lot of stuff on Twitter about it's like one of the best gigs I'd ever seen. I honestly did fantasise. I daydream a lot in an extremely positive way about my career.
Yeah.
I find I've had to since the Sony nominations. Since the Sony nomination, I thought we'd get maybe 4 or 5. I thought it'd be one of those. It'd be a Nick Ferrari year. We got knocked. And I never learn. So I always think it's really... Honestly, I can't tell you how brilliant I think it's going to be. I partly blame this show because I always imagine that everything I say on this show back home with the listeners is absolutely bringing the house down. Mm-hmm. And of course, I don't know any better. You two aren't allowed to read out negative text. So I live in a beautiful cloud cuckoo world of 100% success. It's great. But I'll give you an example of how my bubble burst.
It's like being a Middle Eastern dictator. I like it.
But internal.
Yeah.
Comedy despot.
Yeah. At least my elaborate gold bathtub palace is in my head.
This is very true. I can confirm that.
Yeah. Well, there's a few times this week when my statue was pulled over and somebody hit it with a flip flop. Because, for example, I think I got over-ambitious because I feel I can do anything on this show. I kind of thought, oh, this is my chance to hear those laughs I don't normally get to hear. So anyway, this was one of the gags that didn't go so well, right? And perhaps you can workshop it with me, Alan, you being a professional comedian.
Oh, this isn't going to be remotely mortificado.
So I said, right, this is my impression. Bear in mind, this is how overconfident I think I've got.
What a bit Yarwoodian.
I said, yeah, this is my impression of George Gershwin yawning. Nothing.
See, in a weird way, it's bad to tell me this, because comedians love hearing about other comedians' failed.
But can you imagine how loud the silence was after that?
Yeah, but I like it. I think it's funny.
But do you get it?
Yes.
I don't... Anyone there got it? No one
reckoned. Get it.
No one there. Well, if they got it, they just thought, well, I get it, but... What about it? Which is even worse. Please let me live in the belief they didn't get it. Not that they got it and treated it with utter contempt. That would be too much. But I always see it's this. I imagine now that our readers at home are still laughing at the George Gershwin.
Do you?
They're not hearing. They're not hearing this bit of the show.
Do you, Colonel Gaddafi?
Yeah, because they're laughing. They're laughing so loudly. We can say anything now about them. They can't hear us. They're breathless.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
160. Hi Frank, I was at the gig last night and I loved everything, even the bits that no one else laughed at.
There's a little insight.
That's from Gordon in the front row.
Oh, I remember Gordon in the front row.
Oh, do you?
Hey, Gordon. How you doing?
It's been too long, hasn't it? Was it last night?
No, I don't remember it. He was smiling inside, that's all I can say.
We've also had a text from Stuart saying, Lewis, my 11-month-old son, liked the Gershwin joke.
How old is his son?
11 months old, but he likes Gershwin-based humour, it would appear.
740, your audience could star in a silent movie. Oh, that's harsh.
That is harsh, isn't it?
That's harsh.
That'd be
Aroma.
good, if they did that, if they did like a clip of the show and then cut to the audience silent and then put up like one of those old-fashioned cards, but blank.
Work it out, yeah, that's great.
Well, this news just in from 669. I'm coming to see Frank tonight with 3 friends.
Oh.
I'll lay odds that the Gershwin joke will go over the head of one particular friend. See you later.
But don't worry, you won't be hearing the Gershwin joke.
It's not made the cuts, has it got?
Yeah.
He's coming with 3 friends. I can only hope that it's Tom Core.
Yeah.
Oh.
Nice.
Oh, you like the cause.
Wouldn't he put 3 family members there?
No, I think they became friends. I never really believed the family thing, did you?
I don't believe it. All the things you don't believe.
I think
Like the cause are related.
I think that was PR, wasn't it? You know,
Like the White Stripes.
no, well, like the Nolan
Right,
sisters were around at the moment, so it's a sort of an Irish thing, wasn't it, to sort of pretend you were related. I think Westlife tried it for a bit, and then yeah.
That I was unaware of.
Bewitched.
Yeah, well, they all claimed they were called West, and then incidents
Yeah.
happened, and that became an unpopular surname, and they had to abandon the whole thing. Yeah, look at it, Google it.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
We need to talk about Justin.
Yeah, I was looking at my watch, I thought, it must be Bieber time soon.
Just in time.
He's
Mentioned him this
almost
week.
becoming friend of the show. What's your opinion of him in the S&M community, by the way, Bieber?
I think he needs a good ID. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I mean, he got into trouble this week. Now, was this fair? I think he's a nice lad. Justin, deep down.
Yeah.
You know what Justin has done?
What?
He's done a beautiful thing because he's responded to Anne Frank as a sort of fellow young person.
Yeah.
What if she had that life where she could have been a believer and lived a normal life like teenagers do? It would have been a
Yeah.
beautiful thing, and he's hit that nail absolutely on the head, and I respect him for that. He has rescued Anne Frank. Good old Justin. That's what I say.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
Well, I was invited to be on the Sky coverage of the Oscars, which sounded really exciting and lovely. But having had a baby this year, I'd seen one of the films, I think, that
Yeah.
were nominated, so that was a bit of a waste of battery. But no, it's a bit... Did you stay up?
I stayed up. I watched.
Brilliant.
I get quite excited by.
Yes, that's very
what,
Steve. I can imagine you staying up.
Well, it's trying to find somewhere because I haven't got a TV channel that shows it. So trying to find live streaming on the
No
internet.
Sky in your house?
We use one of one of their rivals.
Oh.
I didn't know they had any rivals.
Yes.
What is it?
We use
They have.
Virgin Media.
Oh, okay.
Slightly better broadband, I find. But
Is it the David Tennant thing that's drawn you in?
I've been sucked in by that.
I can understand it. Oh, so you could.
And
So, how did you
don't
watch
get-
it then?
So I found live streaming on a dodgy internet connection, but it's quite a nerve-wracking thing because you don't want to associate the words live streaming when you're seeing Shirley Bassey sing a song.
No,
Just
No.
because she's of a certain age, you worry.
that she might be live streaming. Yeah, well, let's hope not.
Did you see the filthy creep incident with Jack Nicholson, Frank?
I did.
Now, what do you guys think? So we should say, so Jennifer Lawrence is being interviewed.
Jennifer Lawrence, in case you don't know, is like a very pretty young actress who was nominated for...
They know J-Law.
Yeah, okay.
J-Law's
And
big.
then suddenly, in mid-interview, though, it's not like he just went up to her in the party after. She was being interviewed on the television,
By George Stephanopoulos.
and Jack
Indeed.
Nicholson turns up. And
Is this one of your dreams?
yeah, but he did, what was great about it is that she didn't play it like a professional actress. To him, she went, "Oh, it's lovely to meet you," and all that. As soon as he went away, she went, "Oh!" She was like the teenage girl on the night bus who'd just been spoken to by a homeless. She had that. She wasn't trying to hide. Then he came up and said, "I'll see you later." And she said, "Oh my God!" She said, "I need a rear view mirror." Such a good gag.
Frank,
I
I
hope
didn't
she was
like-
talking about that
Because
particular moment.
because he tried to chat up Anna Friel a few years ago.
Did he?
And,
he's
He's got a tie.
and
password.
she'd said to him, "You're old enough to be my granddad." To which he replied, "Yeah, but you still talk to me for 10 minutes." Which is such. To which she wants to reply, "That's not impressive at all. Well done for not needing the bathroom in those 10 minutes, you old man."
Yeah, but we don't know what happened after. Jack knows he's in with a shout because he's Jack Nicholson, and I think he's thinking time's running out. I'm
Yeah.
going to play every card in my hand. I don't want to be left holding any cards. I'm going to go for all of them. And he really did. I mean, I know it was a bit Lord Reynard in lots of ways, but it's sort of Jack Nicholson. You sort of don't.
Yeah,
It was sort of
exactly.
all
Yeah,
right.
I was going to say, Frank, if it was Dame Maggie Smith doing it to Daniel Radcliffe, I'd have a problem with it.
Yes, you're right. I'm just going to hold on to that idea.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
It's very exciting, a papal election. I love all the, black smoke, white smoke, and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. Accepto is the moment I like.
Yeah.
And I've said that a lot in my time.
Black smoke is a sort of a no decision, sort of that's what that means. And white smoke. What happens if it's a black pope? Is it still white smoke? Or is it more black smoke? What if it's a Rastafarian pope? Is it smoke, but for 3 days? I don't know what happens there.
We've actually had an email on the subject
If there's a tie, apparently, Louis Walsh decides who's the next pope.
No, but then he says, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't be forced to choose.
Dermot.
He won't do it.
And of course there was, I think it was in the 13th century, when it snowed in, it wasn't actually, it was held in Albano, I think, and it snowed so badly that none of the cardinals could get, and the new pope had to be decided by the Pools panel.
I might start saying accepto if someone asks me on a date. I love it.
That's
if they get the reference, they're in.
You'll just get some smoke, worked out.
And then Habemus Papam. That's what
No,
they
I'm
say
sorry,
on
not on a first
But
date.
wouldn't that be great?
Not on a first date.
If you were in a bar and someone said you fancy going out on a date, and you've got say black smoke in one shoulder pad and white smoke in the other.
An email from Gary Percival, who said, Frank, I've decided that as you're a committed Catholic with modern ideas, you are the best candidate for the papacy. I've launched the idea on Twitter, and David Baddiel has retweeted my message to his followers. We've got a few people interested. Check out the Twitter hashtag Frank Skinner for Pope, and hopefully the idea will gather momentum. Who knows, in the not-too-distant future, you could be the lucky winner of a white hat and a new chauffeur-driven car.
Yeah, but look what you could have won.
Nice. Speedboat. We're going to pay the speedboat.
So there's a campaign. There is public desire.
I could be Pope. Are you baptised Catholic?
I'm baptised Catholic,
You
yes.
could be Pope. If you're a baptised male...
Oh, you're allowed.
That's it. You don't have to be...
Oh, well, I'm ruled out on 2 counts then.
But you could... I don't know about you.
I actually looked up the Twitter campaign, and it's a real thing. He's not lying. So we can back this. Admit the only person who's retweeted it is David Baddiel. So the only person who supported it is a Jew who might have some reason to want to bring down the Catholic Church.
Because he's Jewish.
But already that suggests I'm bringing people together. I'm not even Pope yet.
This is all very well.
I've healed 2,000 years of hurt.
I'm not sure it's the kind of job you can get via a Twitter campaign, though, Frank. I do think you'd be a very...
Well, he lost it via a Twitter campaign, as far as I can tell. Would you want the job, Steve?
I don't think I'm ready for it. I studied theology at university.
Oh, come on, then you're tailor-made.
Well, I feel like I'm overqualified.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd asked too many questions.
Yeah, but I tell you what, I'd like Archie's in the Vatican. Loving
that'd
it.
be good.
Love it.
I'll tell you what, though, I'd miss trousers. I know we slag them off, but...
I'd like that to be your first message from St. Peter's. Tell you what, I'm going to miss trousers.
What I really love the idea of all this is that when there's sort of two popes, there's the Pope Emeritus and the Pope, that if there's a real bad crisis, it will be like that episode of Doctor Who, The Three Doctors, when the previous doctors come back and they work together against evil. That'll be brilliant.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I think I've said on here before, one of my absolute pet hates is people talking to Miss Piggy in an interview as if it's a real person.
Yeah.
And it came on last night, and I said to my girlfriend, oh my God, they're going to do that thing. And she said, I don't know what your problem is with it. And I said, well, one of the things is the way, if it's a bloke, he feels he has to flirt with what is essentially foam latex. And, of course, he did exactly that.
Oh,
he flirted, and she was off with the woman, which is what she always is. It's a terrible, desolate experience. Money was raised, but, if they'd have asked me, if they'd have said, look, Miss Piggy's going to raise £220,000,
yeah,
I'd say, I'll send you 230, don't have her on. But they didn't ask me. Well, I think they raised 75 million last night.
yeah.
Jimmy Carr could have done that at a stroke. Well, and he would have been, at last, he would have been even with the government. But no, instead, we have to... I mean, don't get me wrong, there was many marvellous things on last night, but I cannot tolerate the interviewing of Miss Piggy in any context.
You did your bit, Frank, for comic relief.
I did. No, not on the night.
Oh.
No. Oh, you didn't do the night.
No,
Yeah, you were part of the preamble.
I'm part of
the
the preamble, yeah.
Well, more importantly,
all I am.
foreplay.
you made it... Never mind all that. you made it onto the Daily Mail sidebar of shame. For those that don't know, we need to say what you did, Frank.
I kissed a man and I didn't much care for it. I think that would have gone as a Katy Perry song.
You kissed Greg Davis.
I kissed Greg Davis.
Big man. Big man.
The show was going so badly that we went to the
I don't agree.
we went to the crisis rescue comic relief moment, which is two people kissing who you think would never normally kiss, and two men would normally kiss. A little bit outdated.
Yeah.
I think the kissing on comic relief it reveals the dark side of the British public.
Yeah.
Can I be honest? I think you suited it. I think if you didn't have such a fabulous and beautiful life partner, I think you looked comfortable.
I've always thought I'd be happy as a homosexualist. I mean, some of the nuts and bolts I might find a little difficult at first, but there's lots of things about it. I like the idea. I like the neatness and keeping
neatness.
yourself smart and clean.
And you think you'd get that with Greg Davis?
No, well, I don't know if he'd be the right partner.
Well, he's too tall for all of us. You had what I have, Frank, that syndrome, like a monkey climbing up a tree.
Well,
because you were clinging on to him.
It's how I imagine the Crankies must kiss, because he literally raised me into the air.
Oh.
Which the scary thing was, I realised his hands was behind his back at the time. It was won by Anthony Cotton, in case you don't know, who tap danced. And beautifully.
Shuffle, hop, step, tap, ball, change. He dropped a time step on them, did he?
The drama school flashback. Blimey, I didn't even know asthmatics could tap dance. Do you tap dance?
I can tap dance, but only about as far as I've just said. I don't even think I've got the rhythm right on the time step.
If I had to write a league table of people who tap dance, I can't tell you how low you would have been.
No, Frank, I see him as a sort of Billy Elliot type.
Do you?
Yes.
That's how I got myself out of the slums of West Yorkshire.
You danced, Dad.
It's very like Billy Elliot. No,
And it's got the rainbow top on, lovely.
I tell you, I would love to have. I'll pay £1,000 for comic relief to see you tap dance.
Okay.
Have you still got your taps?
I haven't actually got taps, but I'll just get some tappy shoes. I'll bring them in a board. It'll be like, you know...
You'll get some tappy shoes? What does that
shoes
mean?
that are a bit clippy, can't you? And you can put them on a board. And
I don't know.
Clippy. That doesn't sound very Black Swan. A bit clippy.
It's a different world.
Seen that.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
Dear Mr. Radio, Divine Miss Em and the Cockerel,
Morning.
where stand you on the Northampton Clown? Wow.
Oh, the Northampton Clown.
I'm glad you've raised this.
In case you don't know the Northampton Clown, it's a man. I think it's a man anyway. It might not be.
Yeah, it's a man.
Who appears in full clown outfit.
It's fairly standard clown chic.
Yeah, I think it's supposedly it's based on a Stephen King clown character, isn't it? But anyway, it's a clown who appears in Northampton, often in like the early hours of the morning, unaccompanied.
Yeah.
And it's been frightening people.
He's got the clown chic, but he's let himself down on the footwear. He's
What?
got a Converse
No.
trainer.
Oh, he hasn't gone for
He hasn't
an
gone for
oversized shoe.
No.
Oh, well, if he's listening, I've got some clown shoes in my office.
But how often do you see a fine fancy dress outfit let down by footwear?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know
lot
what I
of
mean?
the
You'll see
time.
someone and, oh, look at that lovely monk outfit from trainers.
December.
Oh.
Yeah.
Santa's in Reeboks.
When
it's not
people,
right.
when people they try to finish off a cowboy outfit with just a pair of lace-up shoes.
Yeah.
What about a ghost outfit with a mini cab driver slip on? I can't abide that.
But is this person definitely a clown, or have they just not rubbed their moisturiser in? Because there are
Very-
mornings I look in the mirror and I think, you know, I really do need I need to have another go at that.
You need to go
I know.
full Pat makeup.
I'm pallid.
He's almost albino, Frank, I'd say, this character.
Yeah? Has he got hair?
He's got the scarlet sideburns
Oh, those things, yeah, the side
and
side
the slightly
patches.
Botoxy eyebrows.
One thing I liked is that Alan Moore, the comic writer who lives
in Northampton, yeah.
has had to publicly state that it's not him. And he's got a massive beard, Alan Moore. So how he could have got away with that, I don't know. But
He has been quoted, this character, He said, I just wanted to amuse people.
Yeah, he's done an interview with
You two say that every week at 11 o'clock.
Northampton newspaper.
It's interesting though, because if there was no internet,
Yeah.
like if pre-internet, if I'd have been walking to the pub, say, or say I was walking back from the pub one night and I'd seen a clown, the next night I'd go in the pub and say, I was walking back last night, I saw a clown that looked like that Stephen King character, Pennywise, just on his own in a dark alley, and someone would say, anyway, who's round? That would be the end of that conversation.
Yeah.
But with the internet, it's
Yeah.
become a major sensation.
It has.
People should do
Yeah.
more of that stuff. Do you remember you used to get the occasional...
I'm dating the clown.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be brilliant. I can't tell you. I don't know if anything would make me happier than for you to say, I know this is... Get a text. Look, listen, I know this is a bit weird, but bear with me. I'm dating the Northampton clown.
I'm going to go out with the clown.
Ah.
I would go on a date with him.
Well, yeah.
If the
He's
clown
got
is
to wear the
listening,
gear, though. He's got
Yeah.
to get the shoes right, surely.
Yeah.
if the clown is listening, I'm up for it. I'm up all night to get lucky.
Yeah, but what you're going to know is lots of men are going to turn up in clown outfits, claiming to be the NC.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Alan Cochrane and Emily Dean. My voice is going already, it's not good. This morning's phone in. Are there any nice people who smoke cigars? I was walking across Waterloo Bridge the other morning. I saw a sort of city boy type chap, and he was smoking a cigar. And I thought, what is it about cigars? Do quite ordinary people smoke cigars and something in the cigar makes them horrible? Or are horrible people attracted to cigars?
I don't know, but in general, I never trust a cigar smoker.
No. So,
Probably
yeah.
a bad time for me to admit that I smoke cigars. isn't it?
You don't smoke cigars.
How would you know?
I just know you don't.
I can tell from that shirt.
Exactly.
You're so un-cigar smoker, it's not true.
The shirt's got a bit of sort of Central American. You know, I can imagine there's some panpipes in the breast pocket.
There are
Yeah.
And there are
rather than a cigar.
some cigars
I
in
think
my
that
jeans
could
What, a
be-
pocket.
slim panatella?
I think that shirt could be one of those holiday purchases the Cockerell's got on. Do you know what I mean?
You know, when you're abroad and you buy, you say, "Yeah, I love. I'll buy some of these. I bought some what I would call.
like it.
I don't know. I hope this is all right. Muslim trousers. So the men's trousers,
I'm not sure
but
it
with
is.
a lot of material
like
around it.
a harem pant, Frank.
Yeah.
I feel like my shirt's off the hook now you've said that.
Oh,
That's
good. Your shirt's off the hook. I thought it was made to measure.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Can I say I haven't been well again this week? And what's happened to me? My illness is 48 hours. That's the deal.
Oh, really?
This one has been 2 weeks.
Oh, dear.
It's been dragging away, and I've missed. Well, first of all, I always walk into my office. Yes, walk into my office past Trafalgar Square in the morning. That's the kind of swinging 60s London lifestyle.
Yes.
I usually go in on a bicycle going, England swings like a pendulum do. Bobby's on bicycles 2x2. Westminster Abbey, the Tower of Big Ben. But I didn't, because I was ill, so I stayed in bed. And had I walked in at my normal time, my normal route, I
Yeah.
would have seen them filming the Doctor Who 50th anniversary special in Trafalgar Square. I would have seen Matt Smith hanging from the bottom of the TARDIS.
Wow.
Oh.
And Jen Louise Coleman peering out. And that was the one morning I didn't go and I missed it.
Spoiler alert.
I'd like to hear of, look, generally, you know, you look back on your life and you think, oh, I do regret missing. And, like, you know, I think I've mentioned that here before, that I stayed up to watch the moon landing when I was a little kid, and I fell asleep just before they got out the lunar module and missed the whole moonwalk. Well, I mean, I've lived in constant regret, as you can imagine. Constant Regret is a small village in Leicestershire. I'll tell you what I miss out on a lot. Now, this sounds slightly... I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but when I was a younger man, I used to notice attractive women and stuff in the street.
In a leery way.
Well, in a sort of a, this is what keeps the species going kind of
Red-blooded male way.
Well, I don't like the phrase red-blooded male. It's an
I didn't think
excuse.
you would. I
Sort of
didn't
thing
say
it. It's a
people
bit
who
cigar
smoke. It
smoker.
is, very cigar. But I'd find out that my girlfriend says to me, Phew, that was a short skirt, and I've completely not noticed. I know this is to
Really?
do with age and the failing away of various facilities, but
I want to know about the facilities.
someone showed me a
You've been
picture,
checking the
for
public
example,
toilets?
of Vivienne Westwood. Receiving her, and it's a very famous picture. This,
I've seen it.
Receiving, I think it's her OBE in the 90s, and she's doing a big twirl outside, and her dress is rising up, and she's commando,
Oh.
like another person in this room today, apparently. But we won't go into any details. She's commando, and somebody said to
Can
me,
I just say it's not me?
and somebody said to me, "What about that for a picture?" And I said, "It's a lovely lining." I'm looking at
No.
the garment.
Looked at the fabric.
Yeah, I've completely. So
off the
that's gone.
horse.
That's gone. So I used to have that. When a relationship splits up, you're mortified and heartbroken, and then
Yeah.
about 2 hours in, you think of the people you've said no to during the course of that relationship as an act of
Yes.
loyalty. Yeah.
Shaquille O'Neal. What about that one?
You said no to him.
Yes. No. It was at Planet Hollywood.
Did you really?
Yes. He wanted to. I know that the phrase "party" was used.
Oh,
I don't
really?
think I don't think he was thinking cupcakes. I don't think that's what
might have
Shaquille
been.
O'Neal had on his mind. He invited me back to his hotel room, and my
a
friend
shack
was
attack.
drunk, so I.
Is that what
Very
they call it?
good.
A shack attack?
I had to take her home. So because of her inability to control her alcohol consumption, I could have been Emily O'Neill, Frank.
Oh no, that is awful.
Yeah.
I just thought of one now as well.
Go on.
I think people.
Oh, come on. I've done Shaquille
I just
O'Neal.
can't. Paulie Yates. I think people, instead of saying.
Alan?
When there's, if people make a suggestion, you should say, "No, I'm in a relationship." But have you got a card or anything?
I can't
Business
say that
card.
to Shaquille O'Neal.
Then I'll call you if anything goes wrong. You stick a rain check. Come on, Alan, your turn.
You've got to have one. Come on.
Maybe Alan just never says no anyway.
I'm just a girl who can't say no.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
We're talking about missing out on things. Can I tell you what we've missed out on this week? I think we all know.
I think I know
Or
what's
everyone
coming.
in this room. We didn't get a Sony nomination.
No. Which I know doesn't sound much, but in radio, not getting a Sony nomination
It's
is
kind of a big deal.
yeah. It's like not having a home in normal society. It is. It's
There's a stigma.
Can I tell
there
you,
is a stigma.
Frank, I did something. I've got to fess up now.
Go on.
I took it quite seriously this year. I listened to it live.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I did, I'm afraid so.
Oh God! Did you put a dress on? Especially a
No,
nice
but I
dress.
got quite competitive.
I did.
Like a mad old lady nominated for an Oscar. No, I didn't put a dress on. But I did, as I sat there with my InStar colleagues, and they all listened, and they went,
Oh, they listened as well.
Yes.
That was a mistake.
Terrible. And they all went, oh. And I, can you be in this category? And I went, no. And they went, oh. And then it came to the end, it was clear we weren't going to win anything. So do you know what I did? I went a bit Big Brother winner being evicted, Big Brother contestant. I went,
Told ya.
I didn't want to win anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And I threw you and Alan totally under the bus. And I said, I'm not worried, but I think Frank and Alan will be really upset.
I can't believe you did
I did
that.
say that,
You were
yeah.
right. But even so.
Sorry.
Now, I've really learnt something this week, and that was the judges' addresses. And I tell you something, it's very hard now. I was in Green Park for 2 hours. It's very hard to find dog excrement. I ended up having to on-bag.
Frank, why didn't we get a Sony nomination?
Oh, come on. I've told you never to ask me that. Well, because we're not as good as we think we are. No one is as good as they think they are at
Really?
anything.
That's a good point, that.
It is.
Mainly their jobs and football, I think. But yeah.
The
this comes
the
under that
physicals.
The physicals.
Generally, people think they're better at stuff than they are, and it's good every now and again to be brought down to earth.
Okay.
That's what I think. Anyway, I don't care. I've got 2 other awards
And
in
what are they?
25 years of comedy. So that's the kind of
It's not the.
that's the kind of success rate I've got.
It's not the winning that counts.
No,
It's the
Taking
getting
part.
off with the winner afterwards. I always say that's what
but
counts.
we won't be there this time.
No, I know, but that
Who says
doesn't
we
stop
won't?
me standing outside the hotel.
I like that the Cockerel still wants to go to the ceremony.
Cockerel really wants to go there.
It'd be funny
I think he
turn
wants to
up.
do some Kanye West on the
tell ya.
stage. I'm going to let you finish. But Frank Skinner, that's what he's going to do.
He'd
Good.
go to Thatcher's funeral if he knew there was free nibbles.
True.
I've been invited,
Of course you
obviously.
have.
Talking of Thatcher, we've just had a text in.
What?
From-
Don't tell me she's come back to life.
No, Jeff Marshall
Oh,
says,
okay.
I blame you for getting the audience first singing Ding Dong back in 1990 when she stood down.
When she stood down, then I was doing a comedy club in Birmingham, and I began the night by getting the whole crowd to sing "Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead." I'm sorry for any of our pagan listeners, by the way. I'm not. That's not a blanket anti-witchcraft thing. It's just what the Wicked Witch thing. Yeah, and now it's become a national. Could be number one this week. It's great that the people have spoken.
They have.
We need to talk about the Margaret Thatcher thing, I think, because it's been an interesting phenomenon, generally.
Phenomenon.
And, of course, someone else who I turned down in the 90s.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Oh, Big Mouth Billy Bass, what happened
Those
to
were
him?
the days.
I suppose they've all been retrieved by cats.
Yeah. Along with
There's
the
a lot of
dancing,
empty plaques all over Britain.
the dancing flowers, Frank, as well.
Now, those were brilliant.
I've never seen you look so intense about any subject.
Those were brilliant. And I got one of those for Room 101. I don't know if it made the edit, but I think it was Sheila Hancock, and she'd never seen one before. She was also...
What, is she Amish or something? How did it pass her by?
I think, I don't know, maybe she's chauffeur driven.
She's classy, isn't she?
So she's very classy.
She doesn't go to
But
gadget
those
shops.
I don't know if in case you haven't seen those dancing flowers, get this, I'm not making this up. You play music and plastic flowers dance along.
Yeah, wasn't all bad in the 90s. Frank, 133.
Fantastic. And those action men that just move their elbows and crawl along the pavement.
Talking of action men, 133. Morning, Frank. Today is Daniel Craig's birthday. So does that mean today he would look okay because it would be his birthday suit? I'd vote for that.
Is it
133.
really his birthday?
Apparently, yeah.
Well, I'm going to sing a song just for Daniel. Rachel Weisz, Rachel Weisz. Everybody! Every morning you greet me. I was going to bleep greet and just
Yeah.
leave it to the audio, but I, you know, it's cheap. It's cheap. I interviewed Rachel Weisz. She is very nice. Oh, he did
She
well.
was-
He did well there.
She was,
I was just saying that about Barack Obama.
she was a contemporary of mine in North
I
London,
thought
Frank.
Michelle done well with him. I think
I think
she
you're
got,
right.
She got the
She
best
did.
of the bargain. She's nice, but he's the
beautiful.
cat.
Well, I noticed they kept Michelle Obama away from Jack Nicholson at the Oscars,
I don't know if she's beautiful.
just in case.
She's attractive, but I think she got the best of the bargain. I think he's a handsome man.
But then Hillary got the best of the bargain, if we're going to be honest, as well.
I always
Bill.
thought Barack Obama looks a little bit like
Barbara Bush. She got the January sales.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
I went to Mass on Sunday morning, obviously.
Lovely.
Guess we all do. And I took my baby.
I don't want you to say
Do you not?
telling people that that's what I do with my time.
Okay. Yeah, you were probably ironing your cravats now that you've got into the acting profession. Anyway, steaming a fedora.
Yeah, oh, he will be.
So I took the baby.
Lovely.
And then I'd say about 8 minutes in, he,
Did he cry?
no, he didn't cry, but I did when I smelt him.
Oh, okay.
So, I think he finds choral music extremely relaxing. Yeah, because I've took him to church now twice in a space of a fortnight, and both times, about 5 minutes in, I thought, I feel hell. He's bobbling up beneath.
That'll be useful to remember when he gets older.
Well, when he did it, I was in Whitstable, and he did it, and I had to move around the church throughout the Mass to disperse it a bit, because it was so intense. Also, a woman looked
He
round
packs
at me.
quite a punch, old Buzz, doesn't he?
A woman turned and looked at me, and of course, there's always accusation. It's like they think, it could be me. I've got just enough grey hair that it could be me. So anyway, I moved about a bit, and So,
Like you were wafting.
yeah, I was praying for more incense. It just didn't come. I was trying to give him the more incense signal.
Following in his vapour trail.
Yeah.
You need me with my Chanel spritz, which I did when I had to go on a coach once.
That would have been lovely. But anyway, they
I
don't have,
sprayed the whole coach.
they never have changing facilities at the churches.
Oh,
No.
terrible. Not
So-
even in first class.
No, no. There is a wide list. So I went in the McDonald's next door, and I was with Grandma, not my grandma.
Andy
Otherwise that
Mason,
would have
friend
been
of the
all
show.
Difficult and unhygienic in a food place. But I went, and so she went downstairs to change him in the ladies, and I sat up and watched the stuff. So I'm sitting by the window, you know those seats that face out onto the street?
Oh, yeah.
And a homeless man came and looked through the window, I suppose, to see if it was busy or whatever. And then he came over and he looked at me, so I looked back at him, and we had a period of, I would say, an easy 15 to 20 seconds of us just looking into each other's eyes through a pane of glass. I mean, he
That was
was,
a Nikita video.
and I wasn't being aggressive. I was looking at him in the way one might look at a wardrobe. You know, I just thought there's a man staring straight at me. So he came in and said, "I know you, don't I?" I said, "I don't think so." And he said, "Yeah, you are you on telly? You're on telly, aren't you?" I said, "No, not anywhere near as much as I used to be. I thought I'd get in early with the hard luck story."
Yes.
Yeah, I ended up telling him about I love my country. Yeah, he gave me £2.
Skinner, Dean, and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
This homeless bloke says, I'll tell you what, he said, I hate 3 Lions.
Did
He said that's a rubbish
And he said it
song.
directly to you, to
Yeah.
your face, not in a conversation about you to somebody else.
No, he said it to me, but I wasn't sure if he knew I was anything to do with it.
Did this
I
just
wasn't-
come apropos of nothing?
Yeah,
It seems quite an
exactly.
aggressive.
Exactly, he said I hate it. He said, World in Motion, best football song ever.
Did he?
Yeah, it's also got the best bit of rap ever on
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Of course, I'd just been, in a way, I had just been whirled in motion in church. I'd certainly whirled a motion around the church.
We've had a text on that, actually. Mass hysteria.
Oh, yeah. We'll come back to that because...
Oh, that's it.
Oh, sorry.
hysteria.
How
You
fabulous.
know, mass.
This is how pathetic I was. I said to him, of 3 Lions, actually, I said, just want a poll, just this week,
Oh,
for
you
most popular
didn't.
football song.
You
To this bloke.
didn't.
Yeah. And,
I love 3 Lions, but it's no this time more than any other time. Come on, Frank.
no, I know. Well, he was entitled to his worthless opinion. But why tell me about it? And I ended up saying stuff like, yeah, but 3 Lions was like the people's song because it's a very good song, World in Motion, but it was never sung on the terraces. I thought just relax about it. He doesn't have to like it.
You're never going to see him again.
No.
Well,
You say that.
Let's see how things pan out.
They
With
did
his,
share some arresting eye contact through
I'm
the
looking for a
glass.
stable boy at my new home. And he was only 4'11". I thought he was perfect.
I'm not sure he's that stable.
No, I think you're probably right there. Anyway, so I left in the
Did
end.
you?
He stayed.
Did he stay in McAdoo's, did he?
He said to me,
He's still there listening.
He said, it's a big homeless hangout, this McDonald's. I said,
Is
I
it?
should use that in the publicity. So I went down to the toilet. People are in there like with their shirts off, having, washing under their arms and,
Oh, yeah.
and
I
in
know
the
what-
shower.
Like
Not in the shower, at the sink.
Like
People
a
do
trucker
that
at a
all the
service
time.
station.
Yeah.
People use it for changing clothes, and I use Absolute Radio.
I love it
But
when
if
you
you
go
don't
into-
have an Absolute Radio,
Isn't it great when you go into a public toilet, there's a bloke with his shirt off having a proper... it's like you walked into someone's house.
didn't they change it? Didn't they change the chairs and they made them all Big Brother chairs, didn't they? They changed the decor in McDonald's. I haven't
they?
been in one for about 15 years, but
Me
I believe
neither,
they did.
But Frank's still going.
Yeah, they've changed the decor. They've made it look like waste ground with flaming braziers.
Well,
Frank.
I was a bit worried when the guy came up to you
Flaming
and said-
braziers, you've got a lot of women's lippers in there.
When he said, "Don't I know you?" I thought you might actually know him, not off the telly.
From drinking. From my drinking days. Yeah.
Weren't
You've
you
done
on
well.
that reservation?
yeah.
Oh dear.
Oh, Frank.
Anyway.
Frank, can we go and audition for Star Wars today?
If you're listening, mate. Respect.
There's open auditions.
I know. I would love to turn up.
They're looking for a man in his early 20s. Aren't we all?
Yeah.
And I don't know, there's a female role as well. What if us
It's an
three went
orphan,
down
I
there?
think. An orphan. they're
Well,
looking
I can
for.
pretty much do that.
It's an odd thing to cast, though, an orphan, as if an orphan looks... I mean, I'm an orphan.
Yeah.
You should audition.
Yeah. That's a
Me,
good
if
point.
I turned up with Annie, you know, that's in...
Oh, is this the text?
me and her turned up both orphans. It's not a look, is it?
No.
We're completely...
Is that the texting? What does an orphan look like?
I think Cockerell would be most likely to get the job in Star Wars.
I don't think so.
Yeah, he could be a bit Chewbacca with a bit of a... He only needs...
Pictures back.
Honestly, you only need a bit of backcombing.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Frank, why have you given Charlie the small chair? Like she's doing an Oxford interview and you're trying to psych her out.
Well,
not
because
fair.
I'm on my third chair so far this morning. The first one I sat
Runs
on,
in the family.
the arm fell off. The third one, no, the second one, it's complicated, isn't it, maths?
Yeah.
The second one, I sat on it and it went,
Yeah.
and suddenly...
Did you reject it on those grounds?
Well, suddenly
No,
my
it,
knees were rubbing against my poppy,
Oh, yeah.
and that's never good.
No.
The second one he soiled during that story about the tramp. That was the problem with the second
That is a lie. It's a goddamn lie, and you know it.
Hey,
Davis, ladies and gentlemen.
we've got to talk about VB. Did you see VB this week?
VB, let me guess.
Oh, come on.
Very...
It's not something you catch.
VB. Any ideas?
I haven't got time for this. Victoria Beckham.
Oh, of
yeah.
course. You
So-
mean PS?
She was, P.S.
Posh posh. Wasn't that tricky once you got Victoria Beckham in the
I got it.
essential
I got
frame
it
of
straight
the
away.
Well-
I am not the sharpest tool in the box, so...
Well, no, you're not.
I think you'll find you're the future Chewbacca.
Yeah, I see you more as a reliable wooden mallet.
Thank you.
She had a PDA with her son Brooklyn this week.
Oh, yes, you did.
Now he's quite. Have you seen that Brooklyn? He's turning into a good-looking chap, isn't he?
good looking,
Who would have
but-
thought?
But he's a bit of a mix, isn't he?
Oh no,
You
it
can
didn't look. Things didn't look 100% positive for a while because he was a bit of a bruiser.
Was he?
Child, he was a
Yeah,
child, though.
yeah, handsome child, but
No, but you can see both parents in him. He's got predominantly David, I would say, but he has got the old two-pin plug socket nose that Victoria's made so famous and popular. But he's handsome. There's no doubt about that.
He is, yeah.
But I didn't. Yeah, I'm sure. Can I absolutely sure that it was a loving parental
Yeah.
moment? I'm certain of that, and I'm
Oh,
not
yeah.
questioning that.
Yeah.
It made me a bit anxious.
did it?
It just looked. It had a
Just said
little-
you didn't see it. She grasped him in. It was a big mum.
She
It was a
held
big
his
kiss,
face.
like it was a cabbage or something.
Look, I feel bad saying this, but I felt a bit get a room when I saw it.
Frank?
I know, and I'm sure that's a misinterpretation.
Yes, I'm sure it is.
It's because she's so dedicated herself to that sort of moody pout. Is it usually when a
Yeah.
parent
Yeah.
kisses a child, it's a lovely beaming grin, but she's still doing the pout as she comes in, the menacing pout, and I just think, oh God, what did you do with them Dalmatians? That was my first thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did look. I felt a terrible shudder go through me.
Really? That's
I thought,
interesting.
she could have smiled at that moment, surely, kissing her
No,
own
you never smile in fashion,
handsome
darling.
son.
Can't smile in fashion. But she, well, I noticed that, and
Because
then
when they were together, they looked like a European plug adapter. Sorry, carry on.
But I noticed that, and I thought, well, I felt sorry for him because I thought, as a 14-year-old boy, I don't know, having never been a 14-year-old boy, I can exclusively reveal.
Except online.
Yeah.
I was a 14-year-old boy, but we didn't kiss each other because of the gas masks.
Oh. But that's embarrassing, isn't it? When a mum does that, I can imagine Alan would have
Well,
got
he
embarrassed by
looked
that.
like he. I have to say, he didn't go pink or anything.
No.
According to the pictures,
No, he
I
didn't,
saw.
that's true.
He looked like he handled it
I
quite
don't
well.
like-
He was probably thinking, "Get off!
Yeah.
What's with that mean pout thing?"
Yeah.
What's with the mean
But he's gone for the big hair and.
He has. It's got a bit Bieber, isn't it?
Isn't there did you read that story that's in the Alex Ferguson autobiography about Beckham? that Beckham
Oh,
was
yeah.
training in a woolly hat. Did
Yeah,
you read it?
I did.
And Ferguson said, "What an hour for?" It's a hairdryer treatment. And he said, "I can't take it off. I'm not revealing my new hairstyle till tomorrow." I love it. I respect him for that.
I do.
But we'll come back to the Anyway, let's rock.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
As parental embarrassment, I don't think that's as bad as Bernie Ecclestone. Did you see him
no,
this week?
that was brilliant.
Oh,
What he's done?
excellent.
Well, Frank, would you care to tell us what he's done?
You're gonna do
Perhaps
footballer's
using the
syntax.
footballer's tense.
Well, what he's done, he's arrived at the revolving doors, he's looked up, he's waved at the paparazzi, he's gone inside, he's forgot to step out of the revolving door.
When you say forgot,
He's done a 360, he's come out, and he's thinking, well, there's paparazzi everywhere. The great thing was, he just forgot to get out of the revolving
forgot.
door. Poor old Bernie, he's about 80-odd.
Frank, his face afterwards, you know what it reminded me of? You know when you pretend to throw a ball at a dog and it looks a bit hurt and a bit confused?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is exactly what his face... Oh, it's awful.
What I like is the paparazzi, when he arrived, they all went, and all the shutters, all excited. And then they started to walk away, and you went, oh no, here we go, he's back again. I love that. He was like a Scandinavian town clock, with him just coming out every 30 seconds. Oh, Bernie, I could have hugged him. I'd have probably missed first time, but then got lower. Yeah, just caught the top of the head first hug.
I thought Bernie Ecclestone should have just faced it out. When he did the full 360, he should have stepped out and gone, and one more lap to go! And then gone back in.
Man,
Do you know what I felt for Bernie? Is, you know, when they greet the paparazzi, it's always how are they going to deal with it? And he put a little finger up as well.
I like the finger.
Oh, the finger. And I know, because when Andy Coulson, I noticed, when he greets the press, he says, morning, gents. Oh, morning, gents. And the finger I prefer.
Do they say morning squire? Back to him. This is something in Minder. Morning, gents. Now about this drinks, Bill Arthur.
To his phone.
Yeah.
Embarrassing though, Bernie Ecclestone. My mum lived on the same street as the school. We lived on the same street as the school, and my mum had a Skoda when Skodas were properly rubbish.
Yeah.
That was
Yes.
pretty embarrassing because
I
there was
had
nowhere to hide.
I had one when they were rubbish.
Did you?
Kids,
Yes,
when you
that's
went
very
past,
you, Frank.
When you went past, kids would go, Skoda!
Yeah, but if those kids are then sat next to you at school, it's quite a long day, isn't it? That's what I had.
Yeah, but I mean, I was 40. They would have been sit next to me. Of course, if I get in successfully to the Star Wars open auditions, driving down the road with one of my new showbiz friends, people will go, Yoda!
Oh, I'd love it if you were friends with him.
I
You and
would
Yoda
be friends with him. I don't do adverts.
You and Yoda coming out
Can you
Stringfellows.
believe that Yoda does adverts?
That was a
Every time I
really
see it-
awful moment in my
Every time I
life.
see it, I think, no.
No, I
Which
do
is
as well.
which is more depressing, Yoda or Kevin Bacon in those adverts?
Yeah,
Both,
he shouldn't have done
No,
it.
but Yoda.
Somehow sorrowful.
Yoda, and bear in mind, he's the slave of the animator. He doesn't have to have a chance to say yes or no.
It's a bit like when the Dalai Lama did those Wonga.com ads.
Yeah, that surprised me.
Yeah.
And I think the future is orange. He did as well. My dad used to do this thing. I never got to the bottom of it, but there was a man that used to come round, one of the club men who'd come round and collect money.
We always had club men.
We always had people come in to collect
Oh,
money from the
Scott,
house.
that's all you had knocking on the door.
My dad used to buy a suit a year. He'd have it made to measure.
Did he?
Yeah, he was a bit dapper, my dad.
That's quite a lot.
Yeah, then
One a
he'd
year.
then he'd come home on his hands and knees one night, 1 mile from the pub, and have to buy a new suit. But anyway, this bloke Sammy used to come round, and Sammy used to play the piano.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Sammy, we had a piano in the house. No one could play it, but Sammy would come round and play a bit of piano, and he'd say. My dad would say, I'll play a bit now. And my dad couldn't play the piano. But he used to sit and sort of... but not for a joke. And there was a terrible moment of awkwardness for about 3 or 4 minutes while he played the piano with Sammy. Because see, Sammy always confused by it and saying, yeah... And then we just carry on having... And I never even asked him about it. It didn't make any sense. And Sammy had just played it properly. And I got to go... and as if he could hear a perfect melody. It's too late to ask now, but anyway.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
I've just paid for lessons for my child.
No.
Okay.
Okay. I take
what?
him
To do what? To do the swimming
Swimming.
lessons?
to swim.
All right.
That doesn't count.
I took him yesterday, and there's only one other dad in the group. And basically, Boz, who's my child, he didn't like it yesterday. He cried quite a lot, and everybody was giving me that,
Oh, yeah.
goodness sake.
Oh, it's like me on the plane when they cry.
Yeah. But anyway, I went into the men's changing rooms, and there's a place, it says family changing area. So I went in there, and there was some clothes hanging up, and I thought, okay, so I'll hang mine up in there. And then it was me and the other dad ended up in there changing our babies. And it was a bit cramped in there. And after, he never spoke to me at all. With two men in a small room with their babies, he never spoke. And then he says, he's American, he said, I guess this place isn't really designed for two people, is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I
He's
said,
saying, I hung my
what-
stuff up. This is my room now.
No, but I thought he meant me being something of a naive from the halfway line.
Yeah.
He said, I thought he was commenting on the design of the room. So I said, anyway, I said, but we're doing pretty well now.
I thought he was as
Yeah.
well. What did he
But
mean?
after, I don't think he was, I think what he meant was, why are you in here? Well,
Yeah.
clearly there's only room for one and I was here first.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what he meant.
Yeah, and that would suggest is... So next week, Kat says, look, I think Boz sometimes picks up because you're still a bit uncertain in the water after years of, being terrified.
Oh, he picks up the
He
fear.
picks up on that. So next week I'll go with him. And I said, I think that's a really good idea, and I think it would be better for Boz, and he'd be more relaxed, and he probably might learn quicker. But I don't want to not go into that little room with that man, in case he thinks he's won the territory. I said, so why do I go and get him changed, and then I'll hand him over to you? So that's my plan at the moment. Is that crazy?
Well,
Oh, I think it might look a tad aggressive, darling.
I don't want it to be. I was the friendly naive. Do you remember that? I was the naive, not the aggressor.
519, Janet has texted in, Frank, you're hilarious. It's one family at a time
Let's
in
just
the
leave it
family
there.
change.
Hold it, one family at a time. Why?
Normally we don't read praise, but I feel like you need the spoonful of sugar here. Frank, you're hilarious. It's one family at a time in the family changing rooms, not some kind of communal family changing. Janet in Edinburgh. I have 2 children, so know about these sort of things.
So you're telling me that a man was getting changed with his child in a private cubicle, and another man came in?
Yeah, in what he thought was his cubicle, and you wandered in there and just... It's a bit like last week when I was describing me using
we
the
don't know.
urinal.
But Janet
It
might not be.
is.
Janet
It's
might
like
not
if
be
I was-
right.
It's
No,
like
I'm
if I was
pretty
in
sure
the
she's
loo
right.
and you suddenly walked in.
Yeah.
And went, it's cosy in here, isn't it? And then Emily
We're
said it's
managing
not really
pretty well.
designed for 2. Yeah, we're
Oh,
coping though,
no,
aren't
but
we?
it wasn't the ladies. I mean, it was
No.
the men's changing rooms. It was
Yeah.
in there.
It's one
I wasn't
family at a
gonna-
time, Frank.
But what does that mean exactly?
I think it means
There's no
his family were in
complexity.
there and then you wandered in with yours.
But it said family changing room.
Okay, if you
Not
see
our
his
fa-
family and your
Didn't say.
family on a Venn diagram, it's not meant to overlap.
Yes,
If you
Frank.
see your experience in the pool changing room the other day, there was an overlap, wasn't there?
If you go into a changing room in a shop and it says changing room, that means that person in there, it's their changing room. It doesn't mean you can
Shut
open
up.
the curtains.
What, you can't go into that? No, I wouldn't do that. It said family change room more than it's a plurally kind of a word.
Yeah.
I'd like, if anyone's got, we're nearly done now, but if anyone could verify this, because I think Janet might have made a mistake.
You want a second opinion?
I would like a second opinion.
Like a medical.
I might be glad of it, because the police could be around my house at any moment. I would
Yeah,
have
you
thought.
might press charges. Poor man.
Next time I go in, I'll do this. All right.
Bad news, Frank. We've just had a text from 503 saying Janet is right, you fool.
Oh, no! Frank, this is the best thing that ever happened.
Oh, no. It's like in films when they get in their car and there's someone already in there.
That happened to me the other day. A woman came out of a pub and climbed into the back of a car.
Oh, yes, sure, she did. Look, you might have to lie to your wife, but don't ever lie to me.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
Something quite odd happened in the last musical break, because we were talking about what we were wearing around the house. It was to do with, I think, some of our listeners being naked.
Yeah.
And the cockerel reminded me...
Can I say the naked listeners wouldn't be a bad...
Yeah.
Well, we've had a few texts from listeners who are
the
naked.
Naked Readers, wouldn't that be a great name for a band?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's not sure.
It's an extension of the Topless Book Club with these so carry on.
Anyway, and then the cockerel reminded me of something, a fact about you. What was the fact, cockerel?
That Frank sleeps in just a pyjama top. And I know this.
With nothing else?
Yeah, it's from the same school as Top Cat and Donald Duck. But if you're wearing something on top, the other stuff's so far away from your face, it doesn't seem to exist.
It's not the same school, because they look very different downstairs.
Yes,
what,
but
cartoon ducks?
But this, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't answer the door to Parcel Force.
Yeah.
In
room
just my
service
pyjama
if you're in a
jacket.
hotel.
Or room service.
Thanks for
Indeed.
my breakfast.
One thing you haven't answered, how long is the top?
Oh.
Well, it
How long
depends
is it?
what your perspective is, really. Some might say too long. Most would probably say not quite long enough.
Oh.
Is it like a frock coat from the Victorian era? Is it that sort of thing?
No, it's
dear.
it's
talking belt
sort
length.
of how can I put this? If you can imagine if I stood on my head and it stayed where it was,
Yeah.
the coat, the pyjama thing, the whole thing would look a bit like a Punch and Judy show.
Oh, my God.
OMG. But, I'm in bed.
Exactly.
I'm not. I
That's
imagine
nice. That's nice for Kathy.
It'll be a good 15 years before I start going out the house dressed like this.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.
Absolute Radio.